Hey everyone, I've got Kristin Molenaar with us today, and she's going to be speaking with us at our vavirtuosos.com conference it's like 6 days away. So she's going to be talking about work less, make more, how to create real freedom in your business. And I'm really excited to have her with us today. This is kind of like the first time I've actually met Kristin, and and it's like a Facebook Live. We're just crazy here, getting to know each other for the first time on Facebook Live. But a little bit about Kristin. She runs an online service-based business that pulls in enough profit to support her family of 3 while working an average of just 5 hours per week. Isn't that kind of cool, guys? Like, think about that. This wasn't always Kristin's reality, though. When she first became a VA, she was overworked, like many of you are, underpaid, and almost went back to a 9-to-5 role where she could just leave work at home or leave work at work. And maybe you can relate to that. She's here to teach you this next week, not right today specifically. We're just trying to get to know her a little bit before next week, but her website's on strategies that she implemented to hack the system for herself so you can experience real freedom in your business too. And really exciting to talk to you today, Kristin, because I mean, that's everybody's dream, is just to work an average of just 5 hours per week. So that's kind of exciting. And tell me, what led you to consider becoming a VA? Like, how did you get started?
Yeah. I feel like I need to say in full disclosure about that 5 hour a week thing. Right now, I'm working a little bit more because I'm working on really like growing things.
Yeah.
But the 5 hours a week is definitely like, I don't dive into client projects more than 5 hours a week. I just don't. So I just want to full disclosure there. If you see me online, yes, that might be beyond the 5 hours a week right now. I'm working a little bit more right now. But yes, I am able to support my family on just that 5 hours. So that's good. And that was a big undertaking, big goal of mine. It required a lot of hacking, like I will share. But you asked what got me started. Gosh, my story kind of starts when I was working back in like a more corporate environment. I never really was in corporate. I always worked for small businesses. I have a love for small businesses, kind of always have. Was always the girl kind of running the show. And so anyways, I was working for someone. I was in a small business. I became the vice president of that business. It was a consulting firm in the beauty industry. And it was kind of crazy how quickly I was able to climb the ladder there. Like, I feel even weird saying vice president because it was a very, very, very small company. So that's not like, doesn't sound, I wasn't vice president of this like big corporation, but it was a big deal to me.
Yeah.
So anyways, the idea behind that was that I was going to take over that business. And things went a little bit awry. The business owner and I had different ideas about things. And ultimately, I felt like I needed to do something on my own because this business was never going to be mine. And I really just always had this like entrepreneurial spirit in me, needed to be my own boss. Like, I just am kind of a take charge person. If you know anything about the Enneagram, which is like something I'm obsessed with, I'm a classic 8, which is all about like taking charge and, I don't know, being bossy, I guess sometimes. I'm learning how to own that. But anyway, so I left my comfortable job and I decided to become an entrepreneur. And I was doing coaching and consulting for the beauty industry and failing miserably. Like, my skills to be an awesome employee did not translate to being an awesome entrepreneur at all. It was like a big blow to my pride. It was horrible. For a year solid, people would ask me what I did, and I would say, I'm a struggling entrepreneur, like a starving artist, but for business. Like, that's what I am. So after a year, I became just like really desperate to start making money again and doing something that I felt like I could do well, because I was just stuck in this like being an entrepreneur, but not doing it well. And it was kind of defeating for me. It was a really low time in my life. So I decided, okay, well, I'm going to start looking for a job. And, I've been working from home now. I'm going to try to look for some like home-based stuff that I'll just get, steady income from. So I went on hiremymom.com full disclosure, I was not a mom at the time. I feel like I was very, like I felt kind of weird about that. But anyways, I'm a mom now. I went on hiremymom.com and I found my first gig from home. And I took in the first job. I was making $15 an hour, which was way less than I left, my comfy job, way less hourly, making $15 an hour and working like 15 to 20 hours a week. But that is really what got me started. And then my entrepreneurial wheels started going, and I was thinking, how could I take this and actually turn this into a business? And that's what I did. I went from being like a freelancer virtual assistant that was just desperate to get any work to really taking that like CEO mindset and hacking the system and, building a business that created freedom for me. It was a long journey, but that's really where it started, is hiremymom.com. So I guess for anybody that's like, how did you get started? That's my answer there.
That's cool. And you took it to exactly to being the CEO of your business, in that we were talking earlier before we got on to the call here, but she runs an agency, a virtual assistant agency. And maybe you can explain that a little bit to people that are on the call right now, because it might excite them to get into that type of line of work too as well.
Yeah.
But what's an agency really?
Yeah, so I run an agency, which basically means that I have a team of really, really amazing people working for my company, and they are taking on a lot of, or all of, at this point, all of the client work for me. So what happens when like an entrepreneur comes to Yes Boss VA is I match them, and I kind of play like matchmaker. I match my entrepreneurs with VAs, and I am really trying to lean into this Enneagram stuff even more. And I am using the Enneagram and what I know about the Enneagram to really match entrepreneurs with a VA that they would work well with. Because one thing that I've realized or recognized, one, as a virtual assistant, there are certain types of entrepreneurs that I love working for, and there are other types of entrepreneurs that I cannot stand working for. And just knowing what their business model is doesn't necessarily shed light on whether I know if I would like working with them or not. What I've realized is digging into like their personality and how they tick and how they work. Those are the things that have kind of determined for me whether or not I like working with somebody. And then on the flip side, as an entrepreneur myself, I have hired people that I loved and thought they were going to be amazing, only to be like really, really frustrated by them. And I worked with an Enneagram coach this last summer, and she helped me shed light on the fact that I was hiring the wrong type. Like I was hiring me, and then those people were trying to function like me, and then it was irritating me because I needed somebody to take my like crazy ideas and turn them into systems, and they were creating crazy ideas and not creating systems. So anyways, I really am leaning on this kind of matchmaking as my point of differentiation in like the virtual assistant agency world. But yeah, the agency model works for me because I love getting new clients. I love signing on new people. I love taking on new projects, but I have found that the day-to-day stuff sometimes is executed by other people better than it's executed by myself. So I'm really owning that. And I love that I have amazing women on my team. And actually I have one guy too, but I have amazing women on my team that are just like impressing the heck out of my clients. And it's a win-win really for everybody.
And I think, and if anybody has any questions here in the group, I see you all. Hi, Angela. Let us know you're here and stuff, and great to see you here. I know a lot of VAs, this is their, I mean, you can make a lot more money by doing an agency, or some people call it a multi-VA business. Some people call it just I don't know. Everybody's got their own name for it. I love agency. That's great. I like that term. It kind of explains it a little bit in itself. But one of the hardest things people find to grow to that point is, you get yourself so busy, first of all, and then it's like now you got to hire on, or outsourced to other people that you don't even know. You got to train them. Do you have a couple of tips for people getting to that point? Like, how did you finally go over that mountain and start this agent? Like, because it's a lot of work managing a bunch of people, right?
Yeah, and I feel like maybe I should have even started there, because I think people probably hear the term agency and go like, dang, that's so big. Trust me, it's a slow grow. And for me, that was what I was comfortable with. I wanted to grow slowly. I have trouble, just like I'm assuming a lot of other people in here. Like, I had trouble letting go, and I had trouble trusting somebody else to do the work that had my name on it. Like, that sounded absolutely terrifying to me.
Mm-hmm.
What I would suggest, and we'll go into this more in the like full training that I do for in the summit, but what I suggest is identifying that very first thing in your business that you don't really love doing, or that you have done so many times over and over and over again that it just feels so easy that you could train somebody very easily to do that same exact task. Now, what happened for me is that very first client I got was $15 an hour, 15, 20 hours a week. And that was going great. And then he came to me and he said, hey, I want to give you more work. Could you blog for me? And I thought, I could blog. Sure, I could blog. No big deal. I sat down, started writing blogs about the nursing industry I've never had any passion about at all, and looked at my husband and went, I hate this. Like, why did I say I would do this? I hate this. Like, I hate blogging. And that was when my wheels started turning. Like, okay, I hate this, but my client really needs it. I would love to keep this income. Who else could do it? Could I have somebody else do it? And so my very first hire was actually an intern. I paid this intern. You need to pay interns. If you look into the legal aspect of it, you need to pay interns. But the intern was excited to take on writing work at just barely above minimum wage because it gave her work experience. So she made money, I made money. I think at the time, she was in Wisconsin, I think, and the minimum wage at the time was like $8 an hour. I think I paid her $9 an hour. And in my mind, it was like, I would rather make $6 an hour having someone else blog for me rather than me blogging. And then I could use that time that I was spending blogging looking for another client. And so I recommend to people that they get used to bringing on other people for help early on in their business. Don't wait until you're overwhelmed. I mean, I think in hindsight, that's what I would do. I understand, though, that outsourcing doesn't even come onto your radar until you're overwhelmed. But if you're one of those people that's listening and it's like, I'm not overwhelmed yet, but I would like to have more freedom in my business, start doing it now. Like, get used to that model and do it really slowly. That would be my recommendation. Agency is something that might happen after 3 years, like it happened for me. I'm 3 years into this. I didn't start yesterday. I didn't imagine owning a agency, but get comfortable with it on a small scale before you go really big.
Yeah, I think very good advice there, to start small and just start. So it's part of your whole business always. If you hate doing your bookkeeping, just outsource it right from the get-go, right? Yeah. Why sit there? I used to sit there for hours thinking, I can't get this done. And I'd procrastinate and trying to do my expenses. And I was always late with my income tax and whatever, until I finally decided, this is craziness. It's from one insane to another type deal. And I finally got a bookkeeper, and I have never looked back. But I had a problem. I think people have a problem letting go as well. Like, your books, for example, are very personal, right? You don't want other people to know about that stuff. Or maybe it's doing your social media or whatever it is that you need to let go with. I think it's hard to delegate when you're such a bossy person. My husband calls me bossy. He says he's just teasing, but in a nice way. He says I'm bossy, right? Yeah. But it's hard. Like, how do you let go of those first things? And I know you're going to talk about this a lot with us, probably in your webinar too. So I don't want to give too much away. But what would be let's say you were taking on a new person, Kristin. What would be your first couple of things you do with them? Like, do you interview them, or what do you do?
Are you talking about bringing on a new entrepreneur, or bringing on a new assistant?
Assistant.
Okay. I want to go back and like answer something really quick that you said.
Yeah.
I thought I could answer that. And you said, like, what do you do in those moments where you're feeling like the control? And I just want to say, like, acknowledge the fact that you're scared and do it anyways. Don't let the being scared control you. I know that sounds crazy, but sometimes people say to me, "Oh, you're so brave." And I'm like, no, not really. I just decided to do it scared. Like, I just decided to show up even though I was scared out of my mind. So that's my answer there. Because I know that people are going to need to hear that. I wanted to touch on that.
Yeah, and Angela says here, she says, and Angela, she's a really awesome VA. And I can just hear her saying this. She says, because we take our work personal, so it represents us. Like, she's a really awesome virtual assistant. And yeah. I'm sure she wants someone that can do the job as well as she can. And I don't know if we ever find those types of people, do we?
Yeah, I think we do. I think we do.
Yeah, good.
Something that was hard for me to acknowledge because I was such a control person is some of the people that I've hired just do better than I do. They sometimes do. And so I think it comes to like finding things that we're comfortable with outsourcing. Like, I'm trying to think of an example to give here, and I definitely will have examples in the training, but you can still be like, this is what I did at first. You can still be the account manager and you can still see everything that comes out of your business. Like, social media management is one of the things that we do. And when I was kind of inching into this, I had people that were creating content and scheduling it for me, but it never got published until I saw it. That was one thing that I was like, I have to see this. However, it was cutting so many hours out of my day because I didn't have to create it, but I was putting my stamp of approval on it. So that's one of the ways to kind of work around being a control freak, is like, outsource stuff, but don't hit publish until you've seen it. Like, that might be a little bit more comfortable for people.
Yeah,
for me, it's more comfortable for a long time. So, and be willing to acknowledge the fact that other people do outstanding work too. Like, you were saying that Angela is an amazing VA. Like, we as amazing VAs ourselves are saying that another VA is amazing. Like, we could work with other amazing VAs. We aren't. Sometimes it feels like we're the best because we take so much pride in our work, and I think that that's great. I think we should have pride in our work, but to say that other people can't do it as well as we can, I think we're kind of missing out on something. And I think that that's more of an employee mindset. Like, that's kind of a bold thing to say, but I think that it's more of an employee mindset and not really a CEO mindset. So we get kind of trapped in that.
And in the end, you're a big one. You're a team, right? And you're working all together. And it's just, I think maybe as time goes by, you get more experience. As you let one simple thing go, the next thing gets easier. I mean, once I let go of my bookkeeping, I was outsourcing. Like, that was the hardest thing probably for me to let go. And once I let that go, and this was just outsourcing for my own business, not client work stuff. But I started finding everything I could let go, to the point where all I was doing was just like, check, good. Okay, that can go to print or whatever it is. Right?
It feels amazing. Like, I think it just, for me, became like a mini addiction. Like, I have this thing to do. Okay, who else could do it? And so I know that some people that are scared cannot resonate with that, but just take it small and just test it out. You never know. Even if you don't have aspirations to become an agency, there are ways to create more freedom in your business so that you can go on vacation and not have to tell your, request from your clients time to go on vacation. Like, I've seen that in particular in a lot of threads and like online or in like Facebook groups with virtual assistants, people asking, how do you handle going on vacation? What do you do with your clients? And like, oh my gosh, you need to implement some more freedom in your business, because we didn't leave the 9 to 5 to like work 24/7. And that's not my quote, that's somebody else's quote, but that's something that I've really like taken to heart. Like, why are we working so many hours when the reality is most of us got into this business so that we could have more freedom? Are we really building businesses that are built around freedom? We can. It takes some bravery, but we can do it. It's totally accomplishable.
Exactly. And Sarah, I like, yeah, that's a great point she made about the difference between employee and CEO thinking,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah.
That's why I think when I became an entrepreneur, I failed so miserably at first because I was thinking like an employee. And if I could go back and do that first year of entrepreneurialism and think a bit differently, I think I have the confidence at this point to say I definitely would have done better. I'm not saying I would have hit it out of the park or anything, but I would have done better. There was a lot of mistakes I made there.
Well, we can ask a couple more questions, guys. If you have any questions, please ask Kristin. What she's going to be speaking at our conference coming up next week. If you haven't got your ticket yet, I encourage you to go get your ticket. It's only $37 to attend all 20 webinars. Kristin is one of our speakers. She's going to be talking about work less, make more, how to create real freedom in your VA business. And she's going to teach you a lot of different things like the secret to picking profitable services, how to increase your productivity, why your hourly rate isn't as important as you've been told, and what mindset is severely limiting your earning potential. And I'm really excited to hear this because she's running a profitable agency now where she's not working like 8 zillion hours a week like a lot of you are out there trying to make a living, right? She's got the freedom to do things. Yeah. In fact, you were just saying you have adopted a new baby.
Yeah, we have a 1-year-old son who came to live with us at 10 days old. We're working towards adoption. He's technically still in the foster system at this point, but gosh, it's hard to say. Like legally, he's our foster son, but my gosh, he's mine. Like he's my boy. So yeah, we're working on adoption, but my goodness, the first year of his life really taught me that I needed to have freedom in my life. Having a baby with an unpredictable schedule, that really challenged me to get serious about implementing and taking advantage of all these things that I knew about building profitable businesses. Because the awesome thing is, when my son is sick or, is feeling extra needy or whatever it is that, babies need from their parents, so many different things, any of those things, I have the availability to just drop everything and be there for him because of this work model that I've created. So it's super important to me that I have real freedom in my life. It's more than just like checking in, to an office. I need to have freedom even when I'm sitting in my home office. I need to have that kind of freedom as well because he's number one priority for my husband and I.
Yeah. And I hear you, like, just to have that freedom where you can just say, okay, my team's going to do it, or they're going to do the work, or they're doing the work. I remember Christmas when the kids were young. I had 3 kids, and they all, the week before Christmas, when you're so busy trying to take Christmas off, they all got chickenpox all at the same time. Oh my goodness, really? 3 of yous, right? It's just like 2 days later, the next one would get it. Then 2 days later, the next one would get it. It was just like, oh my goodness. But being the job I had, and I had basically an agency. Well, I called it something different than in those days. But, I could just say to my team, look, not going to be there at all. I can check off and do whatever, but I've got to look after my 3 kids here this week. And that's one of the joys of having your business and planning it and strategizing around it so that you can work so that you can have a 1-year-old or 10 1-year-olds or whatever you want, right?
Yeah, our work supports our life, not our life supports our work.
Yeah.
And our life needs to come first, and it's possible to create strategies in your business to enable yourself to have that freedom. It totally, totally is doable for everyone.
Well, I'm so happy that I think I found you because you submitted a presentation here, but I'm so glad to have you into our network now and get to know you more, Kristin. Maybe you could give us a tip here for those just starting to think about going the agency route. And I'm going to go that route with your question instead, because you're an expert in this area, and probably what they'd love to hear is, what's a tip if they're right now deciding, I'm going to start up an agency. What would you do first? What would you tell them to do first?
I think that my tip is to invest a lot into personal development when it comes to mindset. I think that if you're anything like I am, you will ignore the mindset piece for years and then realize that you're hitting a glass ceiling and you can't figure out why. A lot of it has to do with our mind. What's being taught online is a lot of strategies, and a lot of strategies work in a lot of different ways. But you'll be limited by the way that you're thinking, even when you're implementing the right strategies. So spend time just making sure that you are learning how to think like an entrepreneur. Like, I know that so many virtual assistants serve entrepreneurs and it's all about serving the entrepreneur, but we are entrepreneurs also. And we need to be being serious about getting our mind right and looking at ourselves in a way that is like more elevating. I guess I see sometimes there's like this negative connotation with like being a virtual assistant. Like you're the second hand to your well, no. We are entrepreneurs also. We are their right-hand person because they need us, and we're responsible for thinking like them as well and really owning what we are. So just take ownership of the fact that you're an entrepreneur, learn how to think like an entrepreneur, invest in yourself. I think that's, sometimes it takes putting money into development, and don't be scared of that, because when you take your investments seriously, they will reap multiple rewards multiple times over. So just do it, and do it scared. Like, don't wait for the bravery, because the bravery is not going to happen. The bravery is going to come after you take the action, and people are going to say to you, "Oh my gosh, you're so brave. I'm so proud of you." And you're going to sit there and think, "Wow, yeah, I wasn't brave at all." Just do it anyways. Do it anyways. Even if this is an amazing opportunity, like investing in the summit. Yeah. I have never heard of so much information for this industry at such a cheap price. Like, just do it. $37, really? Like, you're gonna learn so many things, and you have to pick up like an hour worth of work to pay for that. It's just time to invest in ourselves and our mindset and start thinking about ourselves as entrepreneurs, because that's what we are.
Yeah. And especially if you aren't working right now and you have no clients, you've got a whole week for that $37 to have 20 speakers speaking with you, Kristin.
It's actually a blessing.
Yeah, and if you are working, then get the recordings, right? There's a gold ticket for $97. You can get all the recordings instead. We've got a link in the chat area for you guys. Sarah says, "Yay, just got my ticket." Way for you to go, Sarah. You won't regret it. You're going to love it. There is a link in the chat area that is vavirtuosos.com/Kristin Molenaar, and just go through her link, because I appreciate her, and that's her affiliate link as a speaker here, and we appreciate her coming on board here and just chatting with us a little bit. You'll get to chat with her a lot more at the conference next week, starting in 6 days. And thank you, Kristin. You were awesome. So great to meet you.
Yeah, it's amazing to be part of this network. I spent too much time not networking with other virtual assistants, which is so weird. But I'm just grateful for the opportunity. I know when I submitted my application, I thought, I've never submitted an application for something like this. And then when you wrote back, I was like, oh my gosh, holy cow, I'm doing this. It's exciting. It was really exciting to be accepted. I'm excited to just share what I know with other people, because frankly, I'm just it makes me sad to hear about people that are burned out and people that are underpaid. Like, I just want to help. I really do. I really do. So I'm excited for the training, and I'm just appreciative for this opportunity. So thank you, Tawnya. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Kristin. It's such a giving industry, the VAs. They want to help. They want to share. It's not competitive as in other industries.
Yeah.
We want to share our information with each other, and because we aren't really competitive, we are all unique. We all have our own niches and specialties and services and different things like that. So don't ever feel there's competition here. It's just all support for virtual assistants, and get out there and network with them. And the best way is to come to our conference next week. You're going to have tons of networking between the speakers speaking. So hope to see you all there. And thanks again, Kristin. This was awesome.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone. We'll see you again in a couple hours. I've got another Facebook Live today, too. See you then.